My name is Jereem Richards, Trinidad and Tobago national athlete, and you're watching Scoreboard on ACTN.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACTN. It's always a privilege and an honor to be in your home between the hours of 8 and 9 on a Tuesday afternoon. First of all, let me say a special, pleasant and blessed New Year to Trinidad and Tobago and to all the people who have supported Scoreboard and supported me during the last year. I hope that you will continue with your support because it's vital to keep the show going and to make sure that we are, a voice to be heard in Trinidad and Tobago, where sports is concerned. We're going to be talking tonight athletics, and it's an honor and a privilege to have the 2017 bronze medalist, 200 meters bronze medalist, and the gold medalist in the 4x400 meters at the 2017 World IWF Championship, Jereem Richards. Jereem, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Off camera, we were talking many moons back when I first, had the opportunity to speak with you. You were still at Quantum Athletic Club. You yourself, Coach Trevor James and Marshall Sideno. Time has gone by so quickly. Now, let's talk a bit about, before we get into presently what you are doing now, let's talk about your college at Alabama. Because I really paid close attention to you in 2017 because that was your last year at university. And to me, that was the year when you really, started to, create that major impact. Take me through that.
Well, it actually wasn't my last year. It was my junior year. Okay. So meaning that I had one more year after that year. I ended up graduating early. Okay. So it kind of seemed like it was my last year. But going to Alabama, I really went on a mission because after 2016, I went to the Olympic Games and I wasn't able to compete. But the experience that I gained at the Olympic Games was unlike no other. I saw records broken. I saw some of the top athletes in all nations, and it really inspired me. And I told myself at the Olympic Games and even after, I kept feeding myself that next time it has a international meet, I want to be there. I don't want to have to wait for anybody to say, okay, we should give Jereem a run. So I went back to the drawing board, and my off-season, I worked really hard. It was times that I didn't have no energy in the tank, and I just told myself, well, remember what happened at the Olympics? You didn't get to run, so is either you work hard now or same thing might happen again. So I really dug deep in the off-season of 2016, and from the first meet of 2017, it was just, the ball was just rolling and it was just fiery. And in terms of Alabama, it's a really good school. Roll Tide, that's what we say at Alabama. And yesterday we won the National College football game, so we're national champions in American football. So shout out to the football team also. But what I like about the school is a really close family there. Like, I actually felt at home there, not just having so many Trinidadians in the University of Alabama, because there's also Ruben Walters, Rennie Kwa also trains there, Dominic Williams, Janelle Belil, Rhea Thomas, and Portius Warren. So it's a really strong contingent of Trinidad athletes that train there. So I also feel at home with the locals and with my fellow countrymen.
Okay. And you are one of the only 3 athletes from Alabama who have ever gone on to win an IWF medal. Yeah. Yourself, Karine James, and Calvin Smith. Another guy from Jamaica. I don't have his name at hand, but I know it's 3 guys.
Okay.
Right? I remember or recall that in the university at Alabama, it was not always easy for you. You had many struggles. You want to talk about some of them?
in the Division One, it really wasn't that much struggling, but it was more for me in junior college because I went to South Plains College in Lebanon, Texas before I transferred to Alabama. And the support system there is kind of different. Where a Division One college could give you stipends every month, some junior college don't have that money to facilitate that. So it was more struggling in junior college. But in terms of Alabama, we had everything there needed. We had the facilities needed. We had the supplements, the food for you to get after, to fuel yourself before and after practice. You know, we had the medical staff. We had everything there just waiting for you to tap into. So I would say that we really had everything there. And I was blessed enough to have my coach from South Plains College. Even before I signed to Alabama, he got a job to the University of Alabama. So he left from South Plains and went to Alabama, and I followed.
Now, when you look back now at your days at Alabama, what are some of your accomplishments that you hold dearly, you know?
What I really hold dearly, I remember coming, when I first came into Alabama and I looked at the 200-meter records. 200 meters has always been my favorite event. I like the 400 also, but I feel more comfortable running the 200 meters, and I really like it because whereas in a 400, I would feel tired and really fatigued after. 200, I really don't feel that tired, and I recover faster after 200 meters. So that's why I prefer it. But coming into the school, when I looked at the records on the indoor and the outdoor record, I was like, well, the outdoor one was a little bit more easier for me to get in a sense because I was like, it was 1999, and I was like, that really not that bad. Whereas the 200 one indoor was 2032. So I was like, maybe I would see how the season progresses. And when I opened in January of 2017, I ran 20:57, and I was like, well, okay, this could actually happen. I could actually break this record, and I was able to break the indoor and outdoor record in the 200 meters. So, you know, I'm thankful for God for that because I really, really worked hard this year, and to put my name on the board with such great athletes that passed through Alabama, and to take down the record of Calvin Smith, because he had the indoor record and the outdoor record, sorry, and DeAndre Batson, he had the indoor one. To take down some of these high caliber athletes' names off and put my name there. I just hoping I could motivate the younger ones who come into the school to keep that repetition up, because we recently started to get the ball rolling in track and field too. So I hope that my recent success at Alabama and everyone else before me and so on and so forth could draw better athletes to go there, because it's a really good school and a really good program.
Oh, that's a great point you bring up there, because we eventually we're not going to be seeing the likes of the Richard Thompson and the Keston Bledman and these guys, because I mean they have been around for some time, and the younger one needs to see somebody there, you know, who they can use as a role model, who they can pattern themselves off of. That is why I already started, you know, trying to get to you to tell the public about, you know, your life outside of Trinidad and Tobago at university, because you mentioned so many different things at Alabama that you wasn't in need of, because you had these things there. Now, athletes at home don't have the luxury of these things. There are those who might be very good athletes, but not given the opportunity to get a scholarship or an opportunity to go abroad. So they have to remain here, right? What sort of advice can you give to them? Because, I mean, we hear so many times over and over about the different plans, you know, what they're going to do, how they're going to do this, but still, you know, some has never been done. What advice would you give to the young athletes to keep them motivated, to keep them focused? I mean, you had a lot to keep you focused, because you were rubbing shoulders with, you know, as you said, you went to the Olympics, you saw this one, you saw that one. At university, you're meeting different people.
Yeah.
So you have that. Some of them don't have it here. What advice would you give to them?
Firstly, I would like to say that, you know, I wish in terms of student athletes going away to study and to also compete and be exposed to this high level of competition, I think that athletes here and secondary school students are not well educated about what they need to get a scholarship and what they need to go into the US system, you know, and I get a lot of messages on Instagram and Facebook from younger athletes asking me, how could I get a scholarship? And I try my best to reply to everyone and tell them how, because I know that it would benefit them in the long run. And I know I was once in that position and I wasn't educated about it. But I think the government or the entries or someone should try to educate athletes from Form 3, because that's where you actually start to pick your subjects. And you know, you need to have a certain amount of subjects. You need to have certain amount of classes to be able to go to the US. You also need to do the SATs and so on and so forth. And you need to run fast and all these things. But these athletes don't know that. So it eventually happens when it's too late, when you're already in Form 5, you pick your classes already, you mightn't have something, then you might have to go back and do it. And the NCAA system has changed and is currently always changing. So if they're not updated on the rules, it's like you going in to do a test and you're not sure what's going on. So I think, one, we should really educate the younger athletes about what it takes to become a Division I athlete or to get a scholarship to go to the university. And in terms of athletes that stay in Trinidad and Tobago and trying to train and excel, I think it's something very, very difficult to do. The level of competition is not as high as it would be in the US. I think that athletes here need to be twice as focused, because we also have the distractions of being home and carnival and all these other stuff, because once you're home, you have a lot of distractions, I think. But it is possible. Jehu was a professional in Trinidad and Tobago and he did it. But my experience, I think it would be easier to go to the US and go through that collegiate system, because it's such a big pool of quality athletes. You have no choice but to step up. You know, you have no choice but to step up if you go to the US. So I think that for me, it was the best move, and I think it's a really good move, because you're getting to the US, you had to start rolling one time because everyone there running fast.
But were you prepared when you got your scholarship? Were you prepared for what was expected of you when you went abroad? Because I know that you're going on your own, right? First time. Now, you said earlier that what the relevant authority should do is around Form 3, educate. But was Jereem educated to handle what you met at the university, and how did you cope and manage?
I would say I would say yes and no. I was prepared in the sense that I knew that I would have been on my own. I knew that I would have to be responsible and respective in the sense that this wasn't my country, and you don't want to go over to the US and do something wrong and get in big trouble because you're not from there. So, you know, I was ready and prepared in that sense, but it was still hard for me being away from my parents, being away from my family members. And what really helped me out was that I went to South Plains College, and me and Dominique Williams, we left Trinidad at the same time and went there together. So I had someone to share that experience with, and also Elton Walcott and Shoshona Mason. They were also two Trinidadians that I met there when I got up there. So I had a lot of people to share that experience. And there's a lot of other Caribbean athletes that was there too. So once you go there and you make friends, and especially Caribbean friends who we have similar struggles and you could actually relate to, it will be easier for you to deal with some of these things. But you need to be level-headed. You need to stay focused, because it will be very easy for you to lose focus and you might get yourself in trouble. So, you know, you just have that focus and remember everything your parents tell you. Be disciplined and have that morals.
What about obstacles? What about, you know, that came along the journey? Because I know now, you know, some people will sit down and they'll say, well, okay, Jereem is now the world's bronze medalist and the world's 400 meters relay, and everything look nice, but they don't know that between the start and the end, there were struggles. I'm sure that there were times that you question yourself, oh gosh, you know, Tell me about that.
I had a few struggles. My two biggest struggles before even the World Championships and before the Olympics. My first struggle, well, after my first year in college, I placed third in the 400 meters as a freshman in junior college, and I was one of the favorites coming back in. I ended up winning indoor and outdoor 400 meters as a sophomore. And that year, I also had a sports hernia and I did surgery. So I signed to Alabama that year. And while recovering from surgery, I was wondering like if I would ever run the same because I couldn't walking, even how I was walking was feeling different. And it took me a while to be able to jog and run. And even when I was able to run, my style of running felt different based on the surgery. So I was questioning myself. And at that point in time, it clicked where, you know, I told myself that track and field can't only be your only career. You need to have something to fall back on. And growing up, I heard a lot of times that people said, okay, well, sports doesn't last forever. And I was growing up, I heard it a lot. And in my mind, I was like, people just say that, like, you could be a sports star forever. And after I did surgery, that's where it really came to me. And I was like,
what next?
Yeah, what next? Because God forbid I'm not able to run again. I need to have some kind of papers for me to be able to get a job. And that was one of my struggles, one of my biggest obstacles, but I overcome it in 2017. But when I signed to Alabama, my second obstacle was that they didn't have enough money to take me when I signed. So I finished junior college in December of 2015, and I was supposed to start Alabama in January of 16. And with them not having the money to scholarship me, I needed to wait till May until I could start school. And with that happening, I couldn't enter Alabama at all because it would have been illegal for me to stay there.
Yeah.
So I had to come back to Trinidad and Tobago from January to May of 2016. And me being somewhat of an adult and an adolescent, I was 21, 22. I did not want to ask my mom for money to go to practice to do this and to do that. I was like, well, I'm old enough to try to get a job and work and train at the same time. So I ended up getting a job with Precision Fitness, where I was a personal trainer. And I had to train early in the morning and go eat lunch, take a shower, rest, and get back up and get ready to train people in the afternoon from 4, I think it was from 4 to 7. So that was really, really challenging because I remember tired going to work and tired coming from work late in the night. And it was really, really difficult. And a point in time, that 2016 year, I didn't run fast at all. I opened good, but I ended up getting hurt. And I questioned myself that if I wanted to continue running track and field. And I was like, I was still trying to be optimistic because I did all the treatment on the area that I was hurting and everything that I could do, and it was still giving me pain. So I was like, all right, well, let me just try and be optimistic still. And the last meet, when it was drawing close to me to go to Alabama now, I had one meet before the week that I left, and I ran that meet, and I ran the slowest times I ever ran in my life. And I was like, nah, I went home, I cried. I was like, well, if this is what I run, then I'm clearly not ready to run in college. So I still was trying to stay optimistic and open-minded, and I went to Alabama. I think I had a month and I like 5 weeks until the Olympic trials. I trained there. My first few weeks was tough because I hadn't been training with my coach for a while. Slowly, I started to see some improvement, but I was wondering, each week he was asking me, well, do you want to run for the trials? And I was like, well, yeah, I think I want to run. I still want to go try. And the week of the trials, I had some of the best practices I had all year, but I was still wondering if it would have been good enough to make our Olympic team, you know? And he said that he think I'm in better shape than when I came. He could actually see the difference. But if I'm thinking about going to Trinidad and winning or making the individual event, that would be out of question based on how everybody else was informed and based on how I was. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to stay optimistic and try to make the relay team at least, just to gain the experience, because that wouldn't hurt. And I went back home and I placed sixth in the 400 meters. I think I placed fifth, fifth or sixth. I can't remember too good. And I ran my second fastest time in the 400 meters. At that time, my PR was 45.91, and I ran 46.02. So I was like, well, for the type of year that I had, it really was not acceptable. It was not a bad race.
We need to hold that thought for a moment because we need to take a break, right? When we come back, we'll continue. Okay. Viewers, this is Scoreboard here on ACTN. We're talking to Jereem Richards, Trinidad and Tobago athlete, bronze medalist in the 200 and gold medalist in the 4x400 at the 2017 IWF World Championship. We'll be right back after the short break.
Now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back the tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy.
Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua De Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh, what's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard here on ACT. And during before the break, you ended where you, after a disappointed run, you finally, did a quick time, right? So continue.
Yeah, so I actually ran the second fastest time in the national trials for the Olympics and qualified. So, I prayed a lot about that one too, and God really, really worked and came through for me because my year in 2016 was looking so down and so bad, and I ran some of the slowest times of my life in 2016, and to just shed that little bit of light on me and be able to travel with the Olympic team, it was really a great experience because Olympics is the pinnacle of track and field, of the pinnacle of any sport. Everyone wants to make it to the Olympic team, and to be able to be called the Olympian. Although
and that was your first Olympics, right?
Yeah, my first Olympics. And to be able to be called Olympian, that was something I wanted to do since I was younger, and I was glad and grateful because I actually achieved that.
No, you didn't have the opportunity to really take part in any of the events. But when you look back, right, what experience Jereem got from just being there that you today can say that you have used since then to now to accomplish some of the success that you have accomplished right now?
Well, I think it was a blessing in disguise in the sense that I went there, I did not get the opportunity to compete, and it kind of left a bitter sweet taste. It was a sweet taste in the sense that you made it to the Olympics, and not a lot of people actually get to go there. Yeah. But you made it to the Olympics and you basically was a spectator. So I was like, well, this is not gonna happen again to me. I was really, really inspired and motivated by my teammate, Marshall Sideno, because he did exceptionally well in that 400 meters.
He came sixth or sixth?
He placed fourth in a national record of 44.01 in a record-breaking race. So I was even more motivated by that. And I just told myself, well, if all these athletes could do it, I could do it too. So I went back to the drawing board and worked twice as hard and had an exceptional year the following year.
Now let's talk about the preparation going into the World Championship.
Well, the preparation going into the World Championships was my entire collegiate season. it had a lot of ups and downs, not really downs, I would say, but things that made me learn how to run the 200 meters or how to run certain races, because I started off winning the SEC indoor title in the 200 meters, but I was second place at nationals in the indoor 200. And I was favorite for the outdoor SECs, where I placed third. And each race, I take it as a learning opportunity, whereas if I know I executed something wrong, I'm going to change it around the next time. And in SECs, I was tight and I was just not running relaxed. So I was like, okay, I'm going to change that for the next time I ran. And we did it in the NCAA regionals, and I ran 1997, which was my fastest time. I ran 19 in SECs, but it was wind dated. But I ran it legal in the regionals. So I learned from my mistakes from the races before. Went into the college nationals, and well, I tried my best there, and I still finished third. So I was like, well, okay, but I really learned a lot from this season. Each race, looked it over a million times and saw what I did wrong or saw what could have been improved, and I worked on it each time. So each time I got on the field, I just tried to do my best and give 100% and improve on where I could have improved. And going into the World Championships, it was, for me personally, one of the most relaxing meets of my life, because whereas I had to run for Alabama and get points for the team so we could be a national championship team or be a top-ranked team, it was doing it for Trinidad and Tobago, but I doing it for myself also. So I was more relaxed, and I think even God took some of my nerves and gave it to my family members and my coach, because before I ran each race, my coach was telling me, that he couldn't sleep the night before, and he went to bed late sometimes knowing that I had to run. And even my sister, she told me that she threw up when she knew I was gonna run. So, and I was normal. And I remember before the finals and the semifinals, I spoke to my coach and I was like, well, his name is Blaine Wiley. So I was like, Coach Wiley, am I supposed to be nervous? And he was like, are you nervous? So I was like, no. He was like, well, then you're ready. And it was even weird to me, because usually I still have a little bit of nerves in me. I don't be scared, but I have a little bit of nerves knowing that there's a race gonna come. And I was just normal, like it was practice. So, you know, I'm thankful and gracious to God, because just having that confident spirit with me in the World Championships, it really helped me out.
Coming into the event before the finals, and then you end up in the finals, you know, and you realize that, Jereem have to line up against people like Wayne Van de Kerk, who seemed before the World Championships unbeatable. You had the guy from Botswana,
Isaac Makwala,
right? What it was like for that final, lining up and seeing these guys there. I know you said that you wasn't nervous or anything, but you had to be in some frame of mind realizing that you have made the finals and this is where it's all about. I can't go back to the first round, the second round, but this is where it is going to happen here.
Knowing that I lined up against these high caliber athletes, Wayne Van de Kerk being a record holder in the 400 meters, Isaac Makwala was the fastest man based on season's best in the 200 meters. I wouldn't say I wasn't studying my competition. I went in the race knowing that I had to go out there, execute, and I had a really high chance of winning based on how I was running throughout the rounds. And I was really confident that I was going to win it, because throughout the rounds, I was very smooth, very relaxed, and I was glad to see that some of them actually ran hard in the prior rounds, you know, and they got harder semifinals than I did. So going into the finals, I was really confident. I didn't underestimate, none of them do, but each race I go into, regardless of who is in the race, I tell myself that everyone is equal until you cross the line. So someone could run 19:19, they have to do it that day to beat you, you know? So I keep my mind open in that aspect, and I wasn't faced by anyone.
No, in that finals, I think coming around the bend, you were in 6th position, right? Tell me about the strategy you had for that race, right? Because, I mean, in 6th position, coming around the bend, right? At that point in time, what was your focus?
At my focus at that point in time, honestly, was just to stay relaxed because I didn't get the best of starts because I didn't get the gun when I wanted it to. So from the start, I was in the back, and after my first 2 steps, I stumbled a little bit, and I was asking myself, should I just try to floor it now and give it all, or just stay relaxed and wait and see what happens? And I just quickly remembered some of the races that I ran before, where I tried to push all on the turn, and I locked up coming home. So I was like, you know what, stay relaxed, stay open, stay fluent, and the race is gonna come back to you. So coming off the turn in 6th, I looked across, I saw that I was in 6th, and I was like, well, okay, just stay relaxed and open your hips, and the race is gonna come back to you. And midway into the last 100 meters, I looked across and I saw that I was in 4th. So I was averaging where we were towards the line, and I was like, well, I have a chance of getting a medal. So I kept running, kept my hips open, and stayed relaxed, but stayed aggressive, trying to go to the line. And the closer I got to the line, I realized that it was going to be a close finish. So now it was just to time the dip and see what place I finish. And I mean, I finished 3rd. Some people think to this day I came 2nd.
Well, I was not going to tell you that because honestly, up to now, if you look at the finish, it appears that, you know, you were 2nd. Eh? But after the race and you realize that you came 3rd, what was the whole mindset? What was going through your mind at that point in time? Because up to that time, we had not done anything, you know, that we could have cheered about in the other races. But you now has brought hope now with this bronze medal. What was the whole mindset like?
Honestly, I was just thankful to God that I got a medal. It was my first championships. I have a whiteboard back in my room in Alabama, and I wrote down a lot of goals for 2017, and I was able to cross out a lot of them. And one of them before was make a World Championship finals, and next one was win goal. So I was able to cross out the first one was to make the finals. I didn't win goal as yet because I wanted to win it in the individual event, but God blessed me with a blessing in disguise. I still got the gold medal in the 4x4, but I was really, really thankful to be able to get a medal in the World Championships and my first time being there.
And then we went on to the 4x400 meters. I don't think, honestly, you know, people were expecting the 4x4 team to really win gold. You know, I think we were so focused on the 4x100 and the 100 meters that people always tend to look at those events. But looking at the guys who line up in that 400 meters, Jared Solomon, Rennie Kwao, Sideno, and Lalon Gordon, your bronze medal in the 200 meters must have motivated these guys somehow, that believing that we have never beaten the USA in any relay, never in the history. Going into the rounds before the finals, what was the whole plan for this team?
Well, we had one of the most competitive semi-final heats. So our main plan was mainly just to make it into the finals. I knew that Trinidad and Tobago always has a good 4x4 team, and I've heard it years upon years and upon years that we have the team to beat the USA. We just need everybody to perform on that day. And it so happened that in the finals we did, but in terms of the heats, we were just trying to make it through the rounds and make it to the final and make sure all the passes were safe and we had no hiccups.
Going into the finals?
So going into the finals now, when we saw what lane we got and we saw how we set our team versus how the US set their team, we knew it would have been a close finish. And I ended up having shared room with the guy that finished for finished for the USA. He was my roommate at South Plains College, so I know him personally. That's my really good friend, Fred Curley. And I know how he runs, and he had a really, really good, exceptional season this year. He ran 43.7, but each time he got the baton, he had to run back. You know, it's easy. I think it's easier getting the baton in the back than having it in front, because where you are now is predator versus prey. So, you know, he was the prey now being in front. And we sat down as a team with Coach Charlie Joseph, and we spoke about how it was going to run, and everyone came up with the idea that, okay, you might end up getting the baton right behind him, and if you get right behind him, that's the best place to be. So the race ran how it did. Everyone did their part, and as soon as I saw Lalonde get the baton right behind him, I knew all he had to do was just sit behind him and wait till he home straight and run past him, and that's exactly what he did. And it was, I honestly couldn't believe that it actually happened, because we knew it could have happened. But it's like, you know, you have a chance of beating the US, but it's like, it mightn't happen.
Because I don't think they ever lost a 4x4 in a world championship before.
They were going for 7 straight wins. So it was to be part of the team that won and beat the US. I was really, really thankful to God for that too, because it has been said that we had the team. We always had the team to do it, and for me to be part of that team, you know, it's just really a great experience to be there, and I hope it inspires some of the younger athletes at Trinidad and Tobago so they could do the same thing. And it was just a good year for Trinidad and Tobago on the whole, because the Carifta team even beat Jamaica in the Carifta games, and Jamaica is a hard team to beat in the 4x4 in Carifta. So, you know, I think this year for track and field in Trinidad and Tobago was a really exceptional year.
Yeah, definitely 2017 was the high point for a successful track and field was the performance of yourself and the 4x4 at the World Games. And it all goes well now for the future of track and field, where we go from here. But before we dive into that, let me just quickly find out from you. When you all realize that, hey, goal here in the 4x4, what was that feeling like for you? I know that it has to be extraordinary for you, because that's adding icing to the cake on the bronze medal here.
Yeah, definitely.
But the team itself, we have to take another break. When we come back, you will just reply to that. Viewers, this is Scoreboard here on ACTN. We're talking to Jereem Richards, back home for a short stay, and giving us the life of what it takes to be a professional, now that he has signed a professional contract with Adidas, and his performance at the the 2017 World Championship. We'll be right back after this short break.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
But my first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy.
Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua De Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately,
Hey, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh, what's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard here on ACTN. Jereem, crossing the line ahead of USA and realizing this is what we came here to do, and we have accomplished it. Some teams have been going to these events years upon years and could not have done what you all did. Major success, and I think what even made it greater is to know that you all beat the mighty USA. At the end, what was it like?
It was unlike no other, knowing, because you expected so much from it. You knew that your national anthem was going to be played, and it's not something that you get to experience. That was the proudest moment of me ever singing. All the times I ever sung my national anthem, that was the most important time that I ever sang it. You know, even before the race was ran, Coach Charlie Joseph, he said, we're gonna blind them. So that was kind of our slogan going into the race. We're gonna blind them, because it would have been something that they wasn't going to expect. So they would have been blinded to us beating them, you know. And the experience was really unlike no other. The crowd in London was exceptional. We got the support of all the Caribbean nations. The Jamaicans hugged us up, every Caribbean nations. I saw so many people from Trinidad and Tobago, flags in the stadium, you know. We would be walking around the stadium and you would see a flag far, far, far up in the stands, and you know you had to greet that person because we just won a gold medal, you know. It was really good, because we did not only Trinidad and Tobago proud, but the Caribbean in extension.
Now, you all came back here. You received a lot of, you know, praises. You know, you all have been voted top team of the year. You were recently NTA's athlete of the year. As a Trinidad athlete, do you think that the people, do you think they appreciate what you already do out there? Now, why I'm asking this question here is because we feel everybody must be a winner, right? We saw it when Keyshawn Walcott won the gold medal at the Olympics. The year before that, when they had the NTA's championship, the stadium was empty. But when Keyshawn came back, the airport was filled to capacity. As an athlete, how do you all feel? What's your feeling like knowing that when you go out on the track, you must do good, you must win a medal, or your people home is going to criticize you?
Let me just touch a little bit on the support. Quite frankly, I'm kind of disappointed in terms of how Trinidadians support track and field on the whole, because if we have Trinidad and Tobago playing a football match, everybody filling up this stadium. Yeah. If we having T20 cricket, everybody filling up this stadium. And in track and field, is only who used to run track and field, or who parents or who friends know who would come and watch track and field. But when it's time for the Olympics or the World Championships, everybody's experts. I think Trinidadians, well, Trinbagodians, sorry, we should support track and field more, because you could see some of the athletes before they get medals. You could support some of the athletes and say, well, I know him since he was a little boy and he grew. You could see how your athletes grow in a local country and then go out there and send them off to the international field and say, you could be proud because you saw the progress of this athlete, but all we see is the end product, and then embrace that. But it has so many charms. For example, when Keyshawn Walcott, before he won that Olympic medal, he won Carifta Games, he won CAC, he won World Juniors, and then he won Olympics. Not a lot of people would know that he was on a winning streak before he won the Olympics. And it just goes to show how poorly track and field is supported by Trinidadians. We only know this sport when it's out there, and we criticize it when we do bad, and they don't know. People in Trinidad and Tobago really don't know and understand the sport of track and field, but yet when we do good or do bad, they're first to say something. So I think Trinidadians should just come out and support the sport first, see the progression of the athletes, understand the events, and just give us support and love on the whole, because it could really go a long way.
Now, After the World Championships, you signed you turned professional, and you signed your first major contract with Adidas. How did that came about?
So after the 200-meter finals, I really weighed my options and see if it was better for me to continue going to school and finishing my last year collegiately, or going professional and starting my career as a professional athlete. And I looked at it always, I prayed about it, and I even spoke to my parents about it, and it was best for me to go professional because this year is not a full international year. Some of the meets are earlier in the year, which if I was in school, I wouldn't be able to compete in. And it would have been harder for me to get a contract in 2018, whereas I've already established certain things in 2017. So it was just right for me to go in this time.
Now, what you signed with Adidas now, right? So you're on the pro circuit now. Tell us how that operates. What's, you're going to be into more international races. What for the younger athletes, explain to them what is it like to be a professional athlete, signed with a professional sponsor, and what it takes, because I'm sure that there are certain things that you have to be, up there,
You definitely need to be one of the best athletes in the world. It has a lot to do with your age and how fast do you run. Accomplishments go a long way. So if you were a champion, if you're younger and you were a champion in Carifta or World Juniors or World Championships, or you medal in some of these international events, companies tend to look at those type of prospects. And in terms of the life of professional, I'm now going to start mine, but what the knowledge that I have about it is that this is now your job. You basically race for money, and you compete for money, and you need to be in a certain amount of races to get that exposure and stuff like that to also help out your brand. So I'll be having my first professional meet on February 10th in Boston. I'm not sure what event yet, but February 10th in Boston is going to be my first professional meet. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
What 2018's hold for Jereem right now? What's your major focus, and what can we expect from you?
My major focus in 2018 definitely is going to be the Commonwealth Games. I had a bad taste in my last Commonwealth Games in 2014, in where I got knocked out in the 200 meters from the heats. And I'm just trying to go back there now, and also looking forward to race against Wade Van Niekerk again. Once he's healthy, I wish him a speedy recovery. Once he's healthy, I'd like to race against him again. So that's definitely one of the highlights of the season for me. But I'm just trying to stay consistent and have a good first professional year. I know it's hard for a lot of athletes that turn professional, and they just have a hard time getting used to these races and everything like that. So I just pray to God that, I just have a good first professional year and stay consistent and fluent in my running.
Now, everybody will be coming after the 4x4 men, with the achievement that you all have acquired. Now, we know Lalan Gordon is getting up in age, right? I think you and Sidano is the two youngest in the set. Cole has been out there for quite a while. Are there any athletes that, from where you sit, that you can see, and this is a broad question because we go back to the 100 meters too, because Bledman and these guys, they have been performing for a while. But who are some of the athletes, the young athletes that you are keeping your eye out, that you feel could really benefit from what you all have done? Because now there is something even more to motivate these guys, right? You all have beaten the States, one silver. Who are some of the athletes that you feel could move up there with the right training, with the right discipline, because in everything, it takes proper discipline.
Definitely.
Right? I mean, you could have the best amount of the fastest speed and everything, but if you are not a disciplined person, you're going to stumble along the way. Who are some of these athletes?
Some of these athletes that I think have a really good chance of making a difference with Trinidad and Tobago and could be the new faces and the new stars. Definitely Jacob Sinclair. He made it to the World Championship team as a junior. So I think he's definitely one of the prospects to be a new face in Trinidad and Tobago. There's a guy called Dwight St. Hilaire. He's from Tobago and he recently went to the University of Kentucky. He opened in some really fast indoor times. He ran 6:76 in the 60 meters, and he's not a sprinter, which is really fast for a quarter miler. And he also ran 32:80 something in the 300 meters indoor. So I'm really looking forward to see how he does. Outside of that, there's Gerard Elcock from Abilene Wildcats. He's an exceptional sprinter from the 100 to the 400 meters, very versatile. Jalen Purcell, he's from Simplex. He's also a really good sprinter, 10.3. Adel Coultras, Commonwealth Youth Champion, Crifter Champion, definitely one to look out for. Just to call a few names, but if I left out anyone, I'm definitely sorry. But, you know, we have a lot of good young athletes coming up. I just hope we nurture them and help them in that transition from the junior level to the senior level, good, because that is a really crucial point in track and field, and I think that's where we lose out on a lot of our aspiring athletes, our aspiring young athletes. That transition is kind of where we lose them out. So I hope they make it to that transition good and just feeding more athletes to Trinidad and Tobago.
Looking back at your career, I'm sure that there might be a ton of people who you'd really like to say a special thank you to, because, I mean, the journey has been long, right? And from the days at Quantum Club up to now, who are some of these people that you want to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to?
I'd like to say a special thank you to Mr. Reynold Portley from Point Fortin Civic Center Jets. That was the first club I ever ran in. Mr. Trevor James and Carol Cavallo at Quantum. Definitely Charlie Joseph at Abilene Wildcats. Sean Roach, he really helped me out a lot in terms of advice and stuff. I'd like to say thank you to my mom and my dad, my sister, Brittany Richards. She definitely is like my manager. She would help me with anything, anytime, and she always is on it. Who else? Coach Wiley at University at Alabama, my same coach, current coach right now. Brian Lewis and everyone, TTOC and the entries, you know, always there supporting and always helping out in each way that they can, you know. And have I left out anyone else? I'm really sorry.
You know, you mentioned earlier in the interview that when we were talking about people coming out to, you know, see the athletes perform before they really reach to that success in life, you know. And it brought me back to when I used to come and cover the Quantum track and field event when you and Marshall Sidiano were very young. I think he was still at Prayers. And, you know, I can, you know, safely say that I saw you all, you know, from a very tender age. And it really is, it's a great achievement, you know, to see what you have and the rest of the guys have accomplished. You know, I can talk for you about you and Sidiano because I saw you all, you know, from that age, you know. But I really want to, you know, thank you again for spending this time with us. I really want to wish you a great and successful 2018. You have achieved what you have set out. Not quite everything as yet, because the goal that is still on in the 200 meters on the whiteboard is still there.
Yeah.
So we look forward to, you know, great things from you. And any closing comments?
Closing comments, I'll honestly just wish that people at Trinidad and Tobago really come out and support track and field, because me personally, I would say it's one of our better sports. We bring in a lot of medals, and we need the support of people. Come out to the stadium and support, because it makes a really big difference in the performance of the athletes. Look at how some of the athletes performed in London with such a big crowd. So if we could have that same turnout in Trinidad and Tobago, and we could support each other and help each other out, I think it could go a long way, and we could be really successful as a country.
Jereem, it was a pleasure. And as I said, all the best for 2018.
Thank you.
And we will keep focused on your achievements. And we know you're going to do well.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
viewers, a very interested scoreboard here. We were talking to Jereem Richards, the bronze medalist in the 200 meters and the gold medalist in the 4x4 100 meters relay at the 2017 World Championships, the IWF. We want to say again to Jereem, we appreciate all that he has done for the country. We know he's going to do better. We hope that he stays, injury-free now in his first year as a professional athlete. And we're going to be, I know on ACTN, you're going to be seeing a lot more of Jereem, because we have our international sports, which we highlight on a Saturday, and I'm sure we're going to be showing you a lot more of Jereem as he goes about in his career. We're going to wish him all the best. Remember, viewers, if you miss any part of this interview, it's a repeat of this program tomorrow at 1 p.m. Do have a blessed week ahead, and we look forward to having you in our company next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here on ACTN. See you later.
Yeah.